Hello and welcome to Veggie Patch Ideas. Today it's all about what I am sowing in March, and I'm sorry we're a little late on this one. I have moved house now, everything's still in boxes, but we're getting there, we're turning the corner. So, as you know, February and January are busy months in the allotment, so is March. March is pretty much the main month for sowing pretty much whatever you want, apart from things like French beans and sugar snap peas. Now, we got hit by a very hard frost. It went down to -5 and I wasn't around and everything was in the polytunnel. So I've took some damage with my tomato seedlings. I've lost about half of them due to a hard frost. It's just one of those things. And to be fair, as gardeners, we just adapt and overcome. So I'll just sow some more. It's not the end of the world. And if they turn into a disaster, we've always got the garden centres that sell the seedlings. So what I'm sowing today, we'll start off at the beginning, shall we? Right. First tray, we've got spinach and leeks. Now, you saw me sow leeks before. So what I'll do, I'll put a few spinach in and we'll just sort of rattle these off as we go. I don't want to keep you all day. I know your time is precious. So if we put a few spinach in, now the spinach seeds are very big. You will not lose them. And if you watch the channel a lot, you know I lose seeds all over the place. And I put 2 seeds per cell. I'll press them down and then I'll sieve some soil over them. So the first sowings are leeks and spinach. Then moving on, we've got sweet basil, and this is a new one on me, so we'll try it this year. And I do like to try things different every year. And the times you sow the basil is between March and April, so it's quite a small sowing window. They are very generous with their seeds, which we like to see. And in this case, I can go 3 or 4 per cell. And that's the sweet basil. It is labelled up. Where are we going? Next up we've got rocket. And this rocketeer. The rocket will germinate within around 3 days. So if you don't see any action after 5 or 6 days, you know it hasn't germinated. You may want to re-sow. Your seeds may be out of date. And what I'm sowing in is just a general multi-purpose compost. Again, nothing special. But I do sieve it before we start. So that's a rocket in. And if I just show you this tray in its entirety so you know what I'm doing for the rest of them. But next up we've got spinach matador. Now the matador one has the bigger leaves and it is the one to be sown in spring. And the one before it was Apollo F1 for spinach, if you're wondering. There you go. As easy as that. Now, load up the sieve. and just put a fine layer over the top. Pat it down, and that's then ready for water. So we'll put it in a watering pile, the floor. Okay, next up we have dwarf curly kale. Now, I've just noticed I've got a load cooking here, but I'm gonna do a few anyway, just as a backup plan. But as you can see, we've got loads on the grow tray, and we've got loads of curly kale in the ground, which will be out of here when the tomatoes go in. So the curly kale I'm doing now, and I will also do a different type, kale Nero, and that'll be going in the beds, and that'll stay there all year round. And I'm also doing broccoli Atlantis. Now this is an F1 hybrid as well. So let's get these sown up. The broccoli, always sow more than you need. You will lose plants. Even if they get big tall plants and you think you've won, it can all go very wrong very fast with broccoli. So sow plenty. And this is half a seed tray. And I haven't been shy with these seeds. There's 3 or 4 per cell. And then for my dwarf curly kale, we'll go in the other side. So how you been? Like I said, my feet haven't touched the ground for a good couple of months moving house. It's been an absolute nightmare, but we're seeing the light. And I decided to decorate all 3 bedrooms at the same time. So I've been living in my living room with the kids and the missus. It's not been ideal, I can tell you that. But the good news is it has a garden. It has a large garden for UK standards. If you're in America, you'd probably say it's tiny. If you're in Canada, you'd probably say it's tiny. But here in the UK, it's quite large. It's got a greenhouse. It's in the wrong position, and it's full of bramble. So we'll get to that in another episode. But this is ready for the watering pile. Now, you know I like my spring onions, and every month I sow a tray of spring onions, because you will get some that won't germinate. And I'm putting this in a big tray, plenty of moisture. It's not going to dry out as fast. Very generous on these. And when they come out, you sow them in clumps. That's the best way of doing the spring onion. And if I show you what's happening on the floor in the polytunnel, we've got a curly kale and our clumps of spring onion. As you can see, in clumps, and it does perfectly well. There's our spring onions done. Now next up, actually, let me talk you through what I'm not sowing today, but you should be. Our lettuce Lolla Rosso. We already have a tray of it here and hanging baskets full of lettuce, so I'm pretty much good for now. So that can be sown in a couple of weeks. Cherry red tomatoes, like I said, I've been hit hard, so I'm going to re-sow some tomatoes at some point. And the curly kale, you already know, it's here, there, everywhere. Spring onions done. Now for my carrots, I'm sowing these unconventionally. They are early nans and nanties. I put them in large cell trays. I put 2 or 3 or 4 per cell, maybe 5. The larger cell trays keep the moisture, and carrots need constant moisture to germinate. So this is how I did it last year, and it worked very, very well. I will be direct sowing, but I do like doing an insurance policy of carrots in trays as well. Good thing with carrots, you get loads of seeds. And if you fail sowing carrots, don't give up. Everybody fails when we sow carrots. It's a rite of passage. It is a bit like the algorithm on YouTube. No one understands it. But every now and again you get a good success, and if you've got a few germinated and they grow on, then you're treated to the most beautiful tasting carrots you've ever had. So there we go. Plenty of seeds in there. And again, I like covering over the top, and if you see the size of some of the lumps that are left in the compost, almost pebbles, they're ready for watering. And then just one for the kids, and if you do have kids, it's always fun. Do it this time of year as well. It's our sunflower seeds. Now sunflowers are big seeds, hard to lose. You don't get many. That's that pack done. Start them off and then let them romp away. They're good if you've got a few kids. You can have a height competition, who has the tallest sunflower, but it's just a bit of fun. There you go. And we're watering the ones that are ready. And I hope you enjoyed this episode, and like I said, we will take you through the season step by step, and we'll catch you on the next one.